Okay, can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll stand for a prayer for the 9/11 victims. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reverend Rick, can you come up, please? Need this?
Not really, but I'll do it. Let's all look to the Lord in prayer. We all remember, well, most of us are, I look at a lot of white hair, no hair, what happened 24 years ago, where you were when you saw that, when you saw what happened in 9/11. Not only did over 3,000 people die, but they're still dying now because of the toxic stuff from the buildings that collapsed. So let's look to the Lord. Father, we ask, Father God, you be with the families of those who lost loved ones on that fateful day, 9/11, 2001. So, Father, I pray, Father God, for the families that lost loved ones, that you would bring comfort and strength to them. And those who are going through physical ailments because of being a first responder, or, Father, being caught in that debris field, we ask, Father, that you be with them. Try and bring healing to them. We pray for our nation, Lord. We ask your blessing upon America. And Lord, that this would never happen again. We ask your presence here tonight. We ask it in your name. Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated. Before we get started, do we have any first-time folks here? Please raise your hand. Can you tell us what street you're on, sir?
William Street.
William Street. Sir,
Denver.
where?
On the corner of Denver.
Thank you.
Darwin Drive.
Darwood Drive,
Shane Lane,
Depew, North Creek. Anyone else? Welcome. Roll call. Stan is here, Chris is here, Dean has been excused. We have an opening for recording secretary, and Ed is here. Before we get to our speaker, I got some housekeeping to take care of. First of all, we have an opening for recording secretary, the individual that will take the minutes for our group. They don't have to be real detailed, but just pick up the major points, and then you'll turn them into Paul for Cheektowaga Police, and he'll put it on the agenda for next month. So if anyone's interested in running for recording secretary, and if there's only one person, you're automatically elected, but if there's more, Reverend Rick, can you raise your hand, please? Give your name to Reverend Rick, okay, if you're interested in becoming recording secretary. You get to work with, sit at the front table, and okay. Detail number 2. Next month is candidates night, okay? Right now, I just took a preliminary scan. There's 8 people running for 4 positions on a town board. I believe the county controller is up, and I'm not sure who else is up. I have to go through and call the Board of Elections, and I'll work with Paul and contact all candidates. So next month is a very interesting meeting. We have each candidate come up. There is no question and answer, okay? No. We ask the candidates to stay after the meeting to answer any questions and that, but during the meeting, I don't want to get into any fisticuffs or anything like that. So, plus I want all the candidates to show up. Some of them get scared off on the question and answer, so there will be no question and answer. They'll have between 5 and 10 minutes, or I can't hold this piece of paper. They'll have between 5 and 10 minutes to stand up here and tell you why you should vote for them, okay? I'm going to tell them to try to give you their background, any history, why they're running, but it's entirely up to them on what they want to tell, their story. So invite your friends, maybe use it as a tug to get more attendance here, okay? but we will have a candidates night next month, and I'll work with Paul. Paul?
All right, so I started reaching out to all the candidates today for the Cheektowaga Democratic Party and the Cheektowaga Republican Party. They're contacting their respective people. The Erie County Comptroller's race, I believe, is one of the only other ones that has a challenger. So there's both a Republican and a Democrat running in that one.
What about Tim Myers for District 7 legislature?
He's running unopposed. I'm not
Okay.
sure he's coming. I spoke with Rick tomorrow, his scheduler today. They're gonna see what they have on that day.
Okay.
He's also running both unopposed, so going District 7 and District 8, they're running unopposed. So if they want to come, by all means, we'd love to have them. But if they don't, I mean, there's only one candidate to vote for on the ballot that night, so, it looks like they've got that position back.
There is one independent for the town board who got enough signatures to get on the ballot, Dan Callender, Kollandander, Dan, D-A-N. I think I have his email address. I can send it to you.
As of this morning, he wasn't on the Erie County list, but that doesn't mean there won't be enough. I'll check back with you on that.
Yeah, my understanding he got enough, but I'm gonna go to the Board of Elections and see if they have the preliminary ballot drawn up yet.
All right.
That'd be the key. So I'll talk with you.
All right.
All right?
Yep.
Finally, before we get to our speaker, unless Chris, you got anything you need? Okay. Before we get to our speaker, Greg, can you come up and give us some words on moving wall?
How many people are familiar with the moving wall, the Vietnam moving wall? Well, quite a few. That is coming to Cheektowaga October 2nd to the 6th. It's open 24 hours a day. It's at Pine Lawn, so it's down Harlem. Once you pass Genesee, if you're coming from the, let's say George Urban, it's on the right-hand side. This opening ceremony will be at 6 o'clock on that Thursday. We got some speakers and we have a stage there, and that'll be the opening ceremonies. After that, the wall will be there, and this is another wall will be there. This is the first time I have actually ever heard of it. The Gold Star Tribute Wall, and that'll be the first time both of them will be together. The only other thing I'll say, I do have flyers if somebody's interested in, and then can give information to other people. I do have some flyers, and we need a lot of volunteers for that. The best way to go then, unless you know how to use the QR code, is go to Mount Calvary, Cheektowaga, Mount Calvary Cemetery, Cheektowaga. Hit on that, and it all comes up automatically, and it'll show you all the positions open. And some of the positions are helping people find the names, help people with the sketches, information, and a few other jobs. And we really need a bunch of them. It's 24 hours a day. So any help on that is welcome. And then most important thing is let everybody know too to come and visit the wall and that. And we have this year we're going to have a Veterans Village. Right now we have over 30 information tables for veterans to get information for their benefits and whatever they're entitled to. Very similar to if anybody from here went to the resource fair that I had at Town Park last year. It's very similar to that, and it's going to be really informational, and a lot of those people are going to be there all 4 days. Thank you. If you have any other questions, see me at the table, and for flyers, let me know. Okay?
Greg, just one question. You said it's 24 hours a day to be going?
Yes.
And this is all outdoors? You don't have to go into something, or do you?
No, it's outdoors. The wall is outdoors. We do have the chapel open for grieving, and we have a tent there that'll be covered with the Veterans Village and a few other things going on.
They'll have lights?
Yes.
Lights in it?
Yep. We got all the lights and everything. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. One final point before we get to our speaker. Winter's coming, okay? And with that, I know a lot of people try to contract with snowplow companies, okay? There's a lot of good ones out there and there's a lot of bad ones out there. Now, I may be incorrect on this, but the last I knew, snowplow operators have to register with the town clerk, okay? So, you might want to ask your snowplow operator if he has registered with the town clerk's office. That's sort of a tell-all whether the guy's on, or her is up and up for snowplowing. The other source that I can recommend, and I believe the senior center can help you out with snowplowing sources, okay? So just be careful. There's a lot of good guys, a lot of bad guys. Personally, if I hired a contractor, my wife shovels our driveway, so I don't have to do that, but I would ask for insurance coverage, okay? These guys should have liability insurance, okay? That's another telltale sign whether they're on the up and up, okay? So I'm just trying to give you some pointers on not getting, into a jam with some of these snowplow operators. Second thing is, now's the time to take your snowblowers in for tune-ups, okay? I don't have any recommendations on where to take snowblowers. Again, you might want to call the senior center. I know they're a valuable resource of all kinds of contacts, okay? We're going to call our speaker up now, then we'll have concerns of the police department. Ed, you want to give an introduction?
Sure. Good evening, everybody. This gentleman we've had here before, in very previous programs, and he's got another good one lined up for tonight. So please welcome Aaron Snyder from New York Statewide Senior Action Council. Thanks, Ed.
If I do this, can everyone hear me? All right. These things weird me out. I'm sure I'm giving a little feedback. All right. Yeah, thanks, Ed, so much for that. So like you said, my name's Aaron Snyder, and I'm an outreach counselor with the New York Statewide Senior Action Council. Now, before I do my spiel, show of hands, who's heard of us before? All right, a couple of you. You can put your hand down, Rick. We know who you are. So, I'm here from Statewide Senior Action Council. We are a nonprofit all across Western New York, helping out seniors in particular, but folks in general, with all kinds of different healthcare concerns. We are a state and federally grant-funded organization. We've been around since 1972. In New York State, we operate a helpline that helps out seniors and folks in general with all kinds of different concerns. The three branches of our helpline are our Patients' Rights Helpline. This is for anyone to call if you have concerns about a doctor, hospital, nursing home, something's going on, you're not being treated appropriately, family's not getting appropriate care at a facility, you call us. We'll provide resources and guidance through the whole scenario. Just like the Office for the Aging, we have our MCAP or Medicare Coverage Counseling Program. Everything we do is free and confidential. So if you have questions about your Medicare, open enrollment's coming up very soon, give us a holler. We don't work with any insurance companies. We're never trying to sell you anything. It's all just information provided based on what you got going on, and we'll handhold you through the Medicare process as far as you need. Now, the last thing that we're going to be talking about tonight is the Senior Medicare Patrol. The Senior Medicare Patrol is a federal program that exists in every state, and in New York, we're the designee. The Senior Medicare Patrol is all about combating, reporting, and education on Medicare fraud, waste, and abuse. We have volunteers along with our counselors all across New York collecting those reports, sending them into the appropriate bodies as need be, and then fixing what we can. So that's what we're talking about tonight is Medicare fraud. We're going to give you some good updates and to kind of give you an overview of what's going on. Medicare fraud is a big money game. On average, Medicare loses $60 billion, that's billion with a B, every year to Medicare fraud, waste, and abuse. Why is it important? Who's got Medicare in their room? Okay, quite a few of you. Those premiums, those Part B costs at $185 this year, that was $174 last year, and that's going to be more in this coming year. One of the reasons that goes up every year is because Medicare is losing all of this money. They got to make up for it. Think about all the things that Medicare doesn't cover. vision, dental, hearing for some people, all those kind of situations. Imagine if Medicare had $60 billion back in their pocket. Do you think they could fund those things? So it's really important. All that money going to waste, we get those higher premiums, we lose funding for the things we need, and that quality of treatment is overall impacted. So for those of you who don't have Medicare, we're going to do a quick primer, just kind of the basics. Medicare is a federal health insurance program created in 1965. It was designed to provide federal health insurance for older Americans. You have to be generally speaking, you have to be 65 or older. Some folks with disabilities such as ALS and some other situations can apply for Medicare before 65. And a few other kind of situations along the way that are very individual basis. As most folks who have Medicare know, Medicare doesn't pay for 100% of your bills. It wasn't designed to. Right now, it covers about 64 million people in the US, and that number is expected to go up as the boomer generation ages into Medicare coverage. So this is a Medicare card, that's what it looks like. A few years back, they changed that number. It used to be a Social Security number. And the government finally, in its infinite wisdom, realized that that was a bad idea to just print somebody's Social Security number on a paper card that can get lost in the laundry. So they changed it to these unique ID numbers. Now right there, this is a Medicare number, this is value, identity thieves, this is a credit card number. Anyone have any idea why? Shout it out. Use it for false claims, exactly that. So, I have my bank card, I have my bank account, I know how much is in there. Scammers aren't going to get much. But if I have Medicare and they got my card, as long as nobody's ever caught, they can bill Medicare over and over and over and over again. As long as Medicare pays for those claims and nobody looks. So we'll get some definitions out of the way. What is fraud? Fraud is the intentional misbilling of Medicare or an insurance company in general for the purposes of defrauding the company or billing for a service at a higher rate than is justified. So this is what we typically see with the scams. These fly-by-night medical suppliers will get your number and bill for things like durable medical equipment, catheter kits, COVID tests, things like that, that you never needed, wanted, or received. And they know what they're doing. Abuse is a little lower down the ladder, but it's still important to take care of. Providers supplying services that may not be medically necessary. So going to your doctor's office, you go in, you have the sniffles, maybe you've got a cold, and doc says, hey, while you're here, why don't we do this, why don't we do a genetic test for this genetic defect that probably would have shown up by now? That's abuse, because that's not necessarily medically necessary, it's an excessive cost. And then errors and waste, it's exactly what it sounds like. We're all human, even the folks at the billing office, despite how much we may disagree from time to time, they make mistakes. Somebody clicks the wrong drop-down box, selects the wrong procedure code, it gets billed for something that wasn't supposed to. We actually see a lot of these, and fortunately, most offices are willing to work with us when we call to fix those things. So we're going to go through kind of a laundry list of examples, and I'm going to highlight a few key ones that we've been seeing recently. So examples of Medicare fraud, billing for services that aren't, that weren't covered or weren't supplied. So this is exactly the thing. Like we see scammers billing for durable medical equipment. We see scammers billing for tests that nobody ever received from doctors they've never been to in states they've never been to. Obtaining a Medicare number for free services. We see a lot of this. Hospice fraud has actually become a rising concern for a lot of folks, but it's never billed as, hey, do you want hospice? Give me your Medicare number. It's always, hey, we're offering free housekeeping services for seniors. We're offering free grocery or meal prep for seniors. We're offering all these free benefits. All we need is your Medicare card. And from that point, they'll go turn around and bill Medicare for a hospice card, for hospice charges, which is tens of thousands of dollars. A couple other ones, things like, again, unneeded lab tests, letting someone else use your Medicare number or someone else using your Medicare number to get coverage. So why are all these things important? Well, first up, right at the top there, medical identity theft. So who's heard the term identity theft before? Just in general. All right, a couple hints. So your medical identity is everything that's about you when it comes to your care. It's your medications, it's your procedures, it's your surgical history, it's you got your tonsils out when you were 9, it's you have high blood pressure. All of these things are part of your medical identity. That's a super, super important thing to protect. Keeps us safe, keeps things accurate. I'll give you an example. Say somebody's Medicare number is compromised and some scammer bills their insurance successfully for a boatload of diabetic testing supplies and insulin. Patient never receives these things because he's being scammed and they don't know what's going on. And then that person gets into a car accident. They go to the hospital, they don't have the ability to communicate for themselves, they're unconscious, what have you. Well, doctor can look at your electronic medical record and your medical identity and see all of these claims for insulin and diabetic testing supplies. What happens when you give someone who isn't diabetic insulin? It's a bad time, incredibly dangerous. That's why we need to protect these things. We need to be accurate, not only because that's money coming out of my pocket, I pay for my insurance. Most folks in the room are probably paying for their own insurance. I want to know what my insurance is paying for, and I want to know what I'm paying for. And I want that record to be accurate, because it's my money, but it's also my identity. I don't want those awful things to potentially happen to me. We talk about health impact right there. It's not just those emergency situations. Say a scammer gets a hold of your insurance and bills Medicare or bills Medicaid for a wheelchair that you don't need. You never see it, nothing happens. A couple years down the road, you end up needing a wheelchair for whatever reason. Your doctor bills it to Medicare and it's gonna get denied because Medicare is gonna say, you already got one. Here it is, right here, 3 years ago, you got billed for a power chair. You didn't get that, that's not yours. But because it's in the record, it happened. Lastly is those personal financial losses. Again, getting billed for things we didn't get or we didn't receive. About 2 years ago now, there was an older woman out in New Jersey, picture of health. In her 70s, never had to go to the doctor, never needed to go to the doctor, had Medicare, and we all get those summary notices, those explanation of benefits, those things that come in the mail that tells us what our insurance paid for. All right, a little game. Everyone close your eyes. Show of hands, who opens those when you get them in the mail? That is not nearly enough hands. Those are vitally crucial, and here's why. One day, this woman never opened hers. One day, granddaughter comes over and says, hey, Gran, we really should be looking at these things. Let's take a look and see what we got. They cracked one of them open. She had been billed for 9 months straight for 500 catheter kits a month. She never received, she never wanted and never needed, to the tune of about $3,000 a month going to Medicare. $30,000, $40,000 worth of money that some scammer got because she never bothered to open her mail. So when we get those, we need to open them because that's how we detect it. That's how we pick up that fraud. So we've gone over some other types of kind of things that we've gone through. These are kind of the various types of Medicare fraud. So some in particular, just what I was just talking about, durable medical equipment. So this thing is exactly what it sounds like. It's those catheter kits, the braces, the surgical supplies, the wound care supplies. All of these things are durable medical equipment, and most of those things Medicare will pay for without a peep. That's why we need to protect that information. Medicare in fraud claims a year, $700 million in DME. I know just last year alone, I keep talking about catheter kits, and I know that's a weird thing to mention, but I mention it because in 2022, the average number of claims that Medicare received over the course of the year for catheter kits was 50,000. In 2023, it was 250,000 due to fraud because it became a hot ticket item. Because scammers could buy them for pennies on the dollar from fly-by-night suppliers and then bill Medicare for $300 a pop. That's why we need to keep an eye on these things. So, how does somebody get all that information? Let me go through it. Pharmacy scams, prescription scams is another big one we see. It's been a big one. So this can look like a lot of things. It can look like something, someone walking into a pharmacy and using your insurance to get their medications, or get something without your knowledge. This was really big during COVID. We saw a ton of scam claims for COVID tests. Somebody would call us and they're like, I live in Cheektowaga, and I just looked at my Medicare summary notice, and I got billed for 47 COVID tests out of some pharmacy in Florida, some town I've never been to. Super common. We still see them from time to time. Around the fall, fall and winter, we usually see them. Flu shots too. Other things can be, medications beyond the amount you were prescribed. That's markedly less common, but still things like overfilling. So mail order pharmacies are often guilty of this, where if someone's, say, on a breathing treatment, nebulizer or something like that, maybe they don't use that medication during the summertime, but they need it for the winter. But that pharmacy will just keep sending it. So you end up with a huge stockpile that you didn't really need. Other things, intentionally providing less medication than prescribed, so short filling bottles, or prescribing expired medication. That's more along the lines of, hopefully we'd see that as an error only, and not pharmacies intentionally distributing expired medications. It has happened. Other things, pharmacies, we haven't seen this word in a while, but I've seen it in the past personally. Pharmacies offering things like gift cards and other direct financial compensation to get you to go to their pharmacy. That's actually illegal. They can't do that. Automatic refills, again, the mail order pharmacies are particularly guilty of this, but we see it at retail as well. And how do we get all this information? So we talk about these scammers getting a hold of our Medicare cards. Well, they're not mugging us on the bus. They're not picking through our wallets while we're sitting at the grocery store. Scam calls, caller ID. This is how they'll get you 99% of the time. We have that helpline we operate. 90% of the calls are coming in, I'm answering them. 7 out of every 10, it's some variation of, I just got a call from someone that said they were from Medicare and they wanted my Medicare number. And they'll offer all kinds of things. They'll say, we're gonna send you a new plastic card. It's the most common one we see. New plastic card, it's gonna have a chip in it. It's gonna come with a grocery stipend. It's gonna come with a utility stipend. It's gonna get up in the morning to make you coffee. All of these kind of things. All that we ask is you give us your Medicare number to confirm. Now, if you get suspicious about it, they can go the other way. They'll say, if you don't give us your Medicare number, we'll cut off your benefits. If you don't give us your Medicare number, you're not getting your Social Security check next month. If the carrot doesn't work, they're going to use the stick. And the whole goal of that is to shut off part of our brain. All right, we have one side, that's all the logical and reasoning side of things. The other side is the emotional side of things. Those scammers don't want you acting logically. They don't want you reacting logically. They don't want you to question what they're telling you. They're using that kind of language, and they're using those pleasure tactics and those fear tactics to light up that emotional side of your brain to get you to react without thinking. A lot of those calls I take, when the person calls, they're embarrassed. They say, I knew something was up. I should have known, but I gave him my number, and I feel so stupid. I feel so bad. And I always tell people, I said, I don't want you to feel that way. This is an unfortunate situation. You were a victim. This is not something you did to yourself. This is something they did to you. They are excellent at it. $60 billion a year they take from Medicare. They're really good at it. Don't feel bad. I want you to call us. I want you to reach out. I don't want you to feel embarrassed. I don't want you to hide these things. So how do they get to us? Caller ID spoofing. It's a funny word. It just means that they're using some kind of computer program to make their number look like a different one. Look local. 716-585. Could look like your doctor's office. I've had those before. I've had my own cell phone number. Call my cell phone before. It happens. It happens all the time. Could come up looking like grandma's number. Could come up like grandkids' number. It's a computer program. They're calling from some call center halfway around the planet, feeding it through a computer to make it look like the call is coming from down the block. A couple things to look out for. Unfamiliar numbers. want you to say it with me. If I'm getting a call from a number I don't know, what do you do? Hang up. Don't answer it, right? Hang up, don't answer it. It's exactly that. I don't know who those people are. If it's important and real, they'll leave a message. Pre-recorded messages. You pick up the phone on those unfamiliar number, you hear that delay and that click, and then you get the robot call. How many of those gotten those before? Right? Bunches. I'll bet you all of you in the room have gotten at some point. Pre-recorded messages. Now these calls, they're going to ask yes or no questions. We're going to talk about why that's very, very important in a minute. Keep that in your heads. Sense of urgency. Exactly what I said. They're going to appeal to that emotional side of your brain. They're going to say, act now, limited time offer. If you don't give us a call in the next 20 minutes, we're not going to send you the free toaster. All those kind of things to get you to make that emotional decision without thinking about it. And then they're going to ask for personal information. They're going to ask for that Social Security number, that Medicare number. They may ask health questions. We've had this come up recently with like the durable medical scams. They'll ask you very leading questions. So they'll say, oh, well, we're offering free back braces now. It's a new program we're doing, and you have back pain, right? Who doesn't have back pain? Who doesn't have elbow or knee pain on occasion? They're not asking because they already know. They ask because that's a leading question, a shot in the dark that's probably going to be pretty accurate, and it's going to open up a larger conversation. And then when we get the call, they'll say, oh, well, they had all this information about me, and then I always ask, did they have particulars, or did they ask you a question and you confirmed? It's almost always, well, now that I think about it, they asked me and then I told them. So that's what they do. So Medicare card scams, again, it's the most common one we see. Things, again, asking for the new car, they're going to send you all this information, all these great things. It's all a scam. The three outfits that are never going to call you out of the blue are Medicare, Social Security, the IRS. If one of those outfits wants to communicate with us, how do they do it? Exactly that. They're going to send you a letter, an official letterhead, and an official nice looking envelope. They're not going to call you out of the blue and say, hey, by the way, we're giving out a bunch of free stuff. The government's not giving anything out for free. They're going to ask you about those ailments of those pain. Again, those leading questions. They're going to get you to answer those things to justify them billing Medicare for hundreds of back braces that you don't need. So, the last one we're going to talk about here is one that's really, really become prevalent in the last couple of years. Technology is an ever-moving pace. It's always getting more advanced, and as much as the folks in the good fight try to fight against it, scammers always have a way. They're always going to use this technology to enrich themselves at the cost of us. So remember when I said those robocalls, they ask you those yes and no questions? They want you to say yes. They want you to say no. Because that way, they can record your voice to manufacture consent. Artificial intelligence is all kinds of things. Identity theft. They can use document creation software and all of these kind of AI chatbots that are out there now to generate very, very real-looking medical documents, patient histories, claim forms, all with the goal of getting Medicare to cough it up. Use deepfake technologies to impersonate people or doctors or things like that. One of the ones we hear about a lot, it's not in our wheelhouse, but we work very closely with consumer protection and other outfits in the state. Local law enforcement we hear is the bail scam or the hospital money scam. I see a couple heads nodding. Some folks have heard of this, yes? Okay. So for those of you who haven't, it's a scam we're seeing more commonly as this technology gets better and better. Where someone will get a phone call and they'll say, Nana, it's Tom, I'm in jail. I got picked up, I need $5,000 in bail money. Please don't tell mom and dad. Send it to this account. Tom's not in jail. Chances are Tom's probably upstairs playing video games. But they use his voice, pulled from social media, pulled from, if he answered a scam call. My father does this all the time. I don't know if some people do this, I'm sure. We're not going to out anybody tonight. Pick up the phone knowing it's a scammer, and they'll keep talking to them for as long as humanly possible. My father takes great pride and pleasure in this. It is the highlight of his day. Every time he tells me one of these stories, I say, Dad, you cannot do that. 6 seconds of that phone call, those phone calls are always recorded. 6 seconds of his voice, they can replicate it with 85% accuracy. If he talks for a minute or more, 100% accuracy. Then they can go on to use his voice and do whatever they want. They can run those bail scams. They can file false insurance claims and say, nah, see, John said yes, we have him right here, the whole conversation. Using that technology to steal those identities at that angle. So, we talked about a lot of scary stuff tonight. I don't want anyone to walk away scared. I want you to walk away empowered and educated. This is all stuff that we can, as big as that number is, that $60 billion is a huge number, we can fight it at an individual level if we just take some precautions and be aware of these things. Some do's and don'ts. That Medicare card, treat it just like your credit card. Treat it just like your Social Security card. I always recommend, if you have a safe place in your home to keep these documents, keep them there. If you're going to the grocery store, you don't need your Medicare card. If you're going to the library, you don't need your Medicare card. Now, if you're going to a doctor's appointment, sure, take it with you. And I've had people, say before, oh, well, what if I get into an accident? What if I'm hit by a car and I have to ride in the hospital, ride in an ambulance? The EMTs are not going to rifle through your wallet looking for your Medicare card before they scrape you up off the road. They're going to get you to the hospital, they're going to treat you, they're going to take care of you, and they're going to solve that on the back end. Once kind of everything's stabilized, they say, okay, what's your insurance look like? Hospitals have to treat, they have to stabilize, regardless of whether or not you have insurance or even the ability to pay for the treatment. So don't feel like that's an emergency you have to account for, because you simply just don't. Keep it in a safe place. If you have someone, a trusted individual, someone in your family that knows about it, say, hey, by the way, my Medicare card is in this firebox. God forbid something happened to me, that's where it is. Watch out for all those identity theft scams. The scam phone calls, the scam emails, the scam text messages. How many of you have gotten that text message from that says, you owe the Department of Transit, $100 for your Easy Pass payments? Right? Okay, so I see some heads. Super common one. I get, 3-5 a week. It's a scam. Don't click on those things. That's how they get you. Anything offering for free. Medicare's not giving you anything for free. And if it's good to be, if it sounds too good to be true, exactly that. So, for a couple of things, I have some of these outside, I'm going to bring them in, a whole stack of them. We have these personal health care journals. I can also mail one to anyone that should just give us a call or see me after the meeting. I'll make sure you get one. They're great. Because I know when I go to the doctor, they're not always quick on their billing. So I go to the doctor in February, I may not get a bill or a statement until, August. Well, I don't remember what I had for breakfast 2 weeks ago, let alone what I saw the doctor for in February. So I can use these healthcare trackers to write it down in real time. Who I saw, when I saw them, how long they took, what they did. So when I eventually do get that explanation of benefits or that Medicare summary notice in the mail that I'm opening every time it comes, because that's how we spot fraud, I can see, yep, exactly. I went to Dr. Jones and yep, we did an X-ray and here it is right here. Here's the claim, here's the date, everything go. Or, I saw Dr. Jones because I had a head cold, but I don't remember getting a CT scan. That looks a little suspicious. I'm going to call statewide and get that figured out. They're excellent, excellent tools. Even if you don't use one of these, take a notebook with you, take a binder with you, do something, write it down, record it in real time, have the physical record. So, real quick, we're just going to go through. So I've been talking all night about these Medicare summary notices and the explanation of benefits. They look a little bit different for everyone if you have Medicare or if you have regular, commercial insurance. But long story short, it's just a document that says between dates X and Y, and it's a little hard to see. It says, this is what we paid for. So Things to look out for on both of these are date of service. When did it happen? Doctor, who did it? Practice, where did it happen? That's how we spot these things. Even if it looks like a doctor you may know, if the office was in Wyoming, probably a good sign it didn't happen. Duplicate billing. We've had this more than very, very common. You pay your copay when your office, right? Your $15 or $20, whatever you have. You pay it before you see the doctor, and then 2 weeks later you get a bill for the same copay. Happens a lot more often than you think. And most people say, oh, 15 bucks, sure, I'll pay it. Why not? Don't. It's your right not to. If you see something like that, call us. You don't have to have Medicare to call statewide. Anyone can call us for any kind of help like that. We'll help out. Online resources, I highly recommend anyone that has Medicare and is any kind of computer savvy or has someone in the family that it is to make a Medicare.gov account. It's a fantastic resource. First up, you don't have to wait for the mail to come to see your summary notices. You can see them in real time. I also suggest this for anyone that has health insurance, Medicare or otherwise. Use your member portals. They're a fantastic resource. You can look at doctors, you can look up providers that may or may not be in network, and you can see all your billing documents in real time. You don't have to wait for the mail to come. Yes, ma'am.
How can you tell if it's actually coming from Medicare and not from a scammer? Because I can't tell that I can actually go to another email to look at it.
Sure.
Open it. And I found with some of them are scams, with Medicare. So how can you tell which ones are the official Medicare ones that are different versus email versus a scam?
Sure, so that's a fantastic question. For anyone that didn't hear, it's how can we tell these scam emails apart from something that's officially coming from Medicare? So there's a couple things to spot. First up, for the most part, Medicare is going to be communicating us with physical mail. They're going to have that CMS letterhead on there. But if you are getting email communications, one of the things you want to look for is in that email address. Depending on what your email platform is, everyone's a little bit different. You want to be able to highlight so you can expand that whole email address, not just the name of who it comes from. That's how you're going to spot those things. It's going to have a .gov address. It's not going to have a bunch of weird numbers and characters after it. In the body of the email, for scam emails, again, you're looking for suspicious links. You're looking for grammar errors or spelling errors. Medicare is not going to send you a misspelled email. So things like that, those are those telltale warning signs of things that may not be on the up and up. And again, if you have any questions on that kind of thing, you're really on the fence about it, I want you to call us because we can look at those things. You can snap a picture. If you have a letter you're concerned about, snap a picture of it with your phone and email it to us. Forward, if you have that fishy email, you're not quite sure what's going on, forward it to me. I'll take a look at it. We're more than happy to help out. But those are some of the common red flags and warning signs. I hope that answers your question. Excellent. So again, EOB is the same thing. Just looking at, again, who did it, where it happened, does it look accurate, does it look right to you? Any of those red flags, anything comes up a little bit suspicious, even if you're kind of just questioning it, call us, we'll double check it with you. We're happy to do so. So last couple things is just statewide stuff. Like I said at the beginning, we have a volunteer program for the SMP, for the Senior Medicare Patrol. If you're interested in volunteering, we provide a ton of training with no cost to you at all. You can come help out with us just like this. You can come out and do community events with us, provide this kind of education, and take these kind of reports from the community. I think I learned anything. If you have any questions, give us a call. So that's the end of my presentation. I have a couple things I want to go over. Just some of the handouts, and for those of you who didn't grab them, I have a bunch on the side table over here, along with a couple little tchotchkes. So first up is this red, white, and blue flyer here. This is our kind of boilerplate Stop Medicare Fraud flyer. Has all of our services on the back, along with our number on both sides. Again, everything statewide does free and confidential. Anyone can call us for help. If it's not in our wheelhouse, we're going to point you towards a more appropriate community resource. Second one is a flyer about the AI, artificial intelligence scams and frauds. Kind of just the latest and greatest. We have a newsletter that you can sign up for on our website. It goes out once a month. The scammers for AI is September's Fraud of the Month. There are enough frauds out there to do a Fraud of the Month. last one, I'm very excited about this. So I said we do community events. So statewide is partnering with the New York Alliance for Retired Americans, who I know Reverend Rick here is a member of, and some others in the full audience may be as well. We're partnering with them for a health and resource fair at the end of October. October 24th, up at the UAW number 9 Union Hall, out at George Carl Boulevard off of Really. It's free to attend for anyone that wants to come. All that we ask is you call ahead to register. Registration is required. And I say that because we're providing a coffee and pastry service and a box lunch to every attendee, and we need to know who we're feeding. We're going to have some fantastic resources. Our director, Maria Alvarez, is going to be coming down from New York. She's going to be doing a talk all about the New York State Master Plan for Aging, which is a really, really, really important topic right now. She's also going to be discussing all of the upcoming changes to Medicare and Medicaid as a result of kind of the recent legislation that's gone through in the last couple months. We're also going to have a wide variety of community of vendors, health resources from all across the area. Matter of fact, I just heard today that DeUville Nursing School is going to come have a whole spread for us on nursing students coming down doing blood pressure screenings, blood sugar checks, and providing all kinds of information along with all of our other vendors. So if you have any questions, just give us a call. The number right on the flyer there is also our helpline. Again, we very much need you to register to come, but it is free to attend for anyone that wants to. But that's my time. Do you have any questions at all? Right here, sir.
I got two.
Yeah.
Rite Aid was going out of business. And I went to fill my prescription. They said they're not filling them anymore.
Sure.
They gave my information to another pharmacy.
Yep.
Without my permission. And they did.
So I had actually worked through one of those situations before. I used to be a pharmacy tech years ago, and it's happened more than once. Those business decisions and those kind of health information releases, they're all negotiated at kind of a much higher level than you or I. It's not illegal what they did. I understand the frustration, and personally I would want to be told and asked ahead of time so I could pick the pharmacy that I wanted to go to. But it's while it's frustrating and unfortunate, it's unfortunately not illegal.
And the other question is,
Yeah.
when I switched pharmacies, I was paying a certain amount for my prescriptions with Rite Aid.
Sure.
I went to another pharmacy, they charged me a couple of bucks more. Also, I got like a shampoo, they were charging me about $10 for the shampoo. So I called my insurance company, the pharmacy. People there, they told me what you did was not $10. It was more like $6. But I know that Walgreens, they've been charged for fraud, millions of dollars last year. And what I did was I went and I called New York State, Attorney General's office.
Sure.
In Western New York. I was complaining with them. About 2 weeks later, Walgreens, when I went there for my next prescription, they said it was because they made a mistake.
Okay.
But if I would have called
Sure.
the Attorney General's office, I would never have gotten it. They were caught last year, millions of dollars they had to pay out, which I found out on the end of that. So,
Yeah, and that's so. In his situation, the pharmacy transfer ended up paying more for a prescription than what he should have and what he had been used to paying. I can say that there's always going to be pricing differences between pharmacies. When we do open enrollment, we do plan comparisons where we'll say, okay, here's Independent Health, Univera, and Blue Cross, and we'll have price comparisons. We'll pick a couple different pharmacies, and you can see the price differences. Some pharmacies are just going to be cheaper, depending on what rates that they have personally negotiated with those insurance companies.
But they go to my insurance company.
And exactly that. So there are.
They paid it.
Yep.
And that my insurance company said no. They go tell them that they overcharged.
Yeah, and that is exactly the kind of situations we want people to call on. If you're experiencing something like that, where you and your insurance company agree that a given thing should be price X and the pharmacy's charging you price Y, call us, because we want to take a look at that, because those are reportable things, or they can be. We can report them to the Attorney General's office.
But the thing was, if Rite Aid, I was getting the same price we were.
Sure.
And it wasn't their card, from these people. But, you know, I just thought them giving my information away.
Yeah, nope, exactly that. All right, anybody, yes ma'am?
In the fall, usually in October, I get a lot of calls, for getting me by, very broken healthcare plans. Is it legit or scam?
So, I will say that marketing plans get very aggressive in the fall around open enrollment. Now, some of them may in fact scam. But insurance companies or, your Univeras or Blue Crosses or whatever's, your United Healths, they can make those marketing calls. They can have the commercials everyone sees. Sign up for this, email for that. A lot of people will get that postcard in the mail, that yellow postcard that says, hey, would you like to learn more about Medicare? Put all your information on here, send it back, we'll tell you all about Medicare. Those are not from Medicare. They're from marketing companies. And if you look at the very, very, very tiny print on the bottom of the card, they need about 6 magnifying glasses to read. It'll say, we are not affiliated with the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. This is an advertisement, this is a marketing material. So if you have questions about that kind of thing, but if you get one of those calls and you're suspicious about it, I want you to call us and tell us about it, because we can double check.
Someone who say, I never plan on having work.
Yep.
They don't keep calling some people on the over and over and up.
Yep.
I do. Word for word, what you just said about how they call you on the phone and they tell you, we're going to give you a new card, it's going to be plastic. I said, no. Finally, the guy, come on, hung up. I got on the phone again and I called Medicare right away. We do not call anybody, we send out letters.
Exactly.
Okay? Today, I got a phone call, it said scam, likeness. I just didn't answer.
Yep. And so that's an excellent point. So she was telling us, for those who couldn't hear it, she was telling us about a scam call she received, one of those Medicare card scam calls, hung up on. And they got another scam call, and the caller ID said, possible scam, likeness. So with one of those caller ID things, one of the tools we can use are, you get that warning that says potential spam, potential scam, when you come up on your cell phone, your caller ID.
I've gotten those calls, not just for healthcare, utility company. We're a utility company, we're this company. I said, I'm not interested in buying, okay? Because people know there's noise. And the same thing with the grandchildren. I got a call a long time ago. I said, I don't have it. Goodbye.
And so with any of those things, the best and honest advice I can give to anyone is don't answer numbers you don't want. Let them go to voicemail. Because one of the things you do is, even if you pick up and hang up or say, pick up, I'm not interested, click, they know there's a body on the other end of the phone now. And they're gonna tell all their scammer friends that there's a body on the other end of that phone that's gonna pick up. And they will call incessantly. The best advice, if you find yourself in that situation, let everything go to voicemail. Don't answer, don't engage with it, don't even do the ignore on your phone. Let it ring out to voicemail. Because we find that if you kind of keep up those ignoring tactics, eventually that volume will die down. But with the scam calls, if you get anything in particular, I want you to call.
Where's your office? Did somebody make an appointment to come in with you and talk to you or something?
So typically we do 99% of the work we do is either over the phone or email through our helpline. I do have a very small office in Amherst that's basically enough for myself, my boss, and our printer. So if you have any questions or anything like that, I want you to give us a call.
What is your name, full name?
So my name's Aaron, and last name's Snyder, S-N-Y-D-E-R.
S-N-Y what?
D-E-R, like the pretzels.
Oh,
All right. Yes, sir, Reverend.
Okay, we're all seniors here, and I'm on the board, and I'm one of the trustees at NYSERA, New York State Association of Retired Americans. All right, and we're the ones that put this on with Statewide, and Aaron and Jed did a great job here. Please, come to this. It's going to be very informative. All you got to do is make sure you call. You say, well, I don't know where George Carroll Boulevard is. That's Worley Drive. You go down Worley Drive, you have Napa on one side, you have the new what's the UAW Region 9? Right, you know that. UAW Region 9 is the office, but right next door to it is a new medical building. So just go in there, but please call. It's going to be very informative. It doesn't cost you a cent. You're going to be very, very well informed because, let's face it, everybody wants to get in the back pocket. But NYSERDA is there. We care about our seniors. We're all seniors. And people like Statewide and Aaron, I've known for a while, they really help us out and help our seniors out. So please, if you can, take this and make a phone call.
Thanks, Reverend. Thank you so much. All right, guys. I think I'm getting the red hook to get out of here. So, if you have any questions, I'm going to stick around for a little bit. Otherwise, absolutely feel free to call our helpline. Like I said, everything we do is free and confidential. More than happy to talk to you about whatever you got going on.
Aaron, thank you very much. How about a round of applause? Before we get to the police department, I see our supervisors here. Would you like to say any words? Is there any other elected officials here? I can't see anybody else.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for giving me a few minutes. Just a couple quick announcements and we'll go back to regularly scheduled programming. This coming Wednesday, I will be in this room from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. hosting, I believe this will be my 7th of a series of town halls throughout the town. What we do is invite the public out, set up a podium, set up a microphone. I do a brief introduction of a few things that are going on in town or introduce a particular topic. And then we open it up to question and answer. And we've been able to solve some problems for folks, give folks an opportunity to vent, do some educational work with these town halls. I find them very productive. You know, I keep holding this phone up when I talk to you guys, but there's a lot that happens in terms of political engagement now through these phones, and we need meetings like this, and we need town halls, and we need to be in person, face to face, to get things solved and to understand each other better. And it's great to have those events. So again, this Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. If you're free and available, it'd be great to have you here to take part in that. The next Wednesday and the Wednesday after, I don't know if anybody here mentioned it, but we're going to have folks here for citizen preparedness training. That will be Wednesday, September 24th and Wednesday, October 1st. You have to sign up for that because just like you get the box lunch with the other event there, you get a free go bag or a free prep bag. So you can find that information on New York State website. I can get that out on social media as well. If you want to look for me on Facebook, you can find the link there. But it's that's a good opportunity to, as a refresher, or if you just want the bag to sit through a quick course, next Wednesday, the Wednesday after. I'm working with our finance director right now to get the town budget prepared. We have the portion prepared that's called the benefit basis budget. It covers the town sewer district, hydrant districts, and a couple other smaller things. I was working today on our highway fund and our general fund, which covers things like, the general fund covers things like the police department, parks, our dispatch office. We're getting some of the numbers finalized. I'm hoping they have the budget done early, so that way our town board has additional time to look over the proposal. I'm hoping to have that done by Friday. It's not looking great at the moment, but I'm not giving up on the goal there. There's something else I wanted to mention, but I'm forgetting it, so I'm all set.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Thank you.
I commend her.
I take any questions if there's time, but seeing none, hearing none, it's good to have.
I commend our supervisor for having these town hall meetings. It's the opportunity for you to hear your voice, or for them to hear your voice. So I encourage everybody to show up at 6 o'clock next Wednesday. In all the years I've been involved in politics and also growing up, I've never heard of any of our politicians having town hall meetings. They generally run away from the public versus going towards the public. So thank you, Supervisor. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think either town or state law requires you to have the budget complete and filed in the town clerk by end of September,
September 30th, that's correct.
correct? And then the town board has the ability to review it, and there should be a public hearing the end of October.
We have to have a budget approved by, I want to say, the middle of November. the
Correct.
first day. But we have to call for the public hearing in October in order
Right.
to meet that deadline.
Yeah, my point is, the first 3 weeks, usually the town board reviews your budget, then the public has an opportunity to give their input at the public hearing end of October. And then, at least when I was on the town board, we try to get the budget approved before election day. So, but I don't know what the state law states, but anyway, this Wednesday, 6 to 8, and then the public hearing end of October sometime. So, concerns of the police department?
All right, real quickly, we have the sign-in sheet always at the front table. Please make sure you're signing in so we can keep a somewhat accurate count of attendance. If you're interested, once again, in becoming the recording secretary, please see Reverend Rick. The Christmas party will be held in December again. Some crime stats. I know in the past, everybody loved the tracks. We don't have that. And what I found so far in researching this is the only thing we can give out are the blotters. The blotters are not sortable by location, by street, by where we used to have 17 tracks. That would be all the different parts of Cheektowaga. We're not able to sort it by tracks. We're not even able to divide it by the 5 districts that we have. The only thing it can be divided into are by the dates, the oldest to newest, and that's it. As we get into stuff talking about that, it doesn't look like a possibility where I can give you 4,000 police calls and a blotter to each one of you. It just doesn't make sense paper-wise to do that. They've come out with the crime stats, and they're accurate each week. Pretty much each week they come out. Last week, so the week covering August 31st to September 7th, 132 summonses, 37 non-injury accidents, 6 injury accidents, 2 DWI arrests, 1 burglary report, 0 robberies, 7 thefts from cars, 43 shoplifters and larcenies, 4 stolen, 0 attempted stolen, and 4 recovered cars. Doesn't mean it was necessarily the 4 that were stolen, but we recovered 4 of them. 6 drug arrests, 0 weapons arrests. Total arrest was 47, with a grand total of 913 calls for service during that week's period. So if you multiply that out times a month, that's 3,600 calls, or roughly that or more per month. If I were to give that to you in a blotter form, starting from the first of the month till the end of the month, I have to imagine it would be this thick, and it just doesn't make sense. I wish we had the old tracks. They were a pain in the butt to produce, but they were pretty accurate to what was going on in each area, each of the 17 tracks. We just don't have that, and I apologize for that. We've looked into it, and people have asked 100 times if we could produce it. We just can't. National Night Out, I thought it was a nice success. We had a lot of people there. CERT was there. We had Kruger's Chicken people there. We had the ice cream truck there. We had 18 pizzerias donate 3 sheet pizzas or 6 large pizzas, and we were able to give those out. We paid some of the pizzerias for anything over the asks for a donation, because I just can't see asking and asking and asking and just having them give. It's too tough of a financial crunch on them when you just say, hey, give us as many as we need. So we were able to pay some of the pizzerias for when they donated extra stuff. So we had, for the movie night, we had about 150 people there. We registered 800 people for tickets. I don't know where the other 650 people went, but my guess is when somebody was registered, they'd say, the max was 10 tickets. They'd say, let me take 10 tickets, and I'll find 10 people. So whether they did or they didn't, we don't know. But it wasn't 800 people there, but it was a nice showing. It was a nice showing of the movie. The 18 pizzerias were very generous to us. And between the pizza sales and the being able to put a sticker up on the vehicle, the police vehicle, we were able to raise $2,100 for the Special Olympics. We do quite a lot with them. It's one of our favorite charities. We get to work with the kids, and it's inspiring to watch these kids in particular, and be so proud of what they do in the Olympics. The idea of Special Olympics is that no child that participates in it has to pay anything to participate in the events. So that's why we try to do as much fundraising with them as we can, so that they can continue to participate in that. All right, that's all I've got.
I do have a question.
Yes.
I'm curious, on the stolen vehicles, are most of them unlocked and have the keys in or what?
I don't know the stat. I'm believing that if people are going into cars and taking them, that they're using some new app that's being invented all the time, or they're breaking in. But we don't see a lot of broken into cars. We see them get damaged after the kids have them, but we're not seeing them damage the cars to get into them. A lot of the stuff is just not locking your cars. A lot of it's not shutting it off with these new fobs. I've done it a time or two. I got out of my truck, and as I'm walking by, I'm like, hey, that thing's still running. Okay, so it does happen, and people pull up and they go to the 7-Eleven and they just leave their car running because they're only going to be in there for a minute. And somebody walks by and says, hey, that car's running, I'll take that car. So I don't know if they're breaking into them mostly, but they definitely are not slowing down and trying to steal these things.
I was just curious. And you guys, whoever was involved with that pizza thing, that was wonderful. I'll tell you, there were pizzerias there I didn't realize we had in this area, and a lot of them were good.
The truth is we have about 35 pizzerias in town. Some of them were closed on Tuesdays. That just seemed to be a thing. Some of them didn't have enough help or just didn't participate. But anytime we get to raise money that goes to a charity like that, we're pretty happy about it. That's all I got.
I have a question. In our neighborhood, we've had a lot of teenagers in vans coming down the street, going up our driveways, checking out the cars to see if they're open, locked, whatever.
Where is this?
On Kingston Lane. We're out there in the afternoons. In the afternoon, at 3:30. I mean, it was 2, 3 o'clock. They're driving by. There's like 2 or 3 in a car. They'll go up to a driveway, and of course, we see that, and we're watching them and trying to get their information and that. We call the police and everything. And a lot of times, the cars are from Florida or somewhere else. They're out of town.
Sure, they're not necessarily out of town people. They're just.
I realized that was probably another car that was stolen or something.
Yeah, or a rental car.
Or a rental, right. Well, yeah, we've seen that quite a bit.
All right, I'll put this in as a checkpoint. It'll go for about 10 days. Hopefully you'll see an increase in the amount of our guys driving up and down Kingston Lane. Just keep vigilant and calling us.
We've been
it's so
watching.
necessary.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, my husband was following the car in our car, and then the kid's stuff his head out the window and was like,
All right.
just like.
I recommend not doing that. Just
Yeah, I know, I know.
Let us follow.
Right. But,
Sir?
and then there was a car that was actually.
Go ahead.
I was wondering, are you doing any extra for the protection of these kids, for all the things that are going on in the school? Are you like making any extra trips?
Well, in the schools in Maryvale, Cleve Hill, Cheektowaga Central, we have resource officers in there. So actual guys that are assigned to there, that's their job. They're there all the time. There's always cars going around the areas if they need them. JFK has a liaison who checks in every day and works in that area, so if something goes on, they're right there. The Edge School and the BOCES campus over on Genesee, they have, the Edge has a full-time officer in there, and the BOCES is a liaison that stops in periodically. Every day, but not
I'm
there.
between Roosevelt and JFK within 2 blocks, and I see these kids walking like 7 o'clock in the morning by themselves, and I know because of if you live a certain distance, you can't get out of the bus. I was just wondering.
So we put extra officers when we get calls that there's a need for it, but our guys are out there 24/7. There's not a time when there's 0 cars on the road. There may only be 4 or 5 at a time sometimes during shift change, but there's always cars on the road.
Okay.
All right?
I don't need somebody on 16 walking down the street. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we know whether the fire halls are having things with the children for Halloween this year?
I don't know that, but I can tell you that our annual trunk or treat is being held on October 19th, I believe it's a Sunday, and we put it out to the public today at whatever time, and within about an hour, we had 1,800 people, or 1,500 people registered for it. So I know the fire halls are attending that. I sent out the email to all of them today, and they've every year, they've always been pretty involved with us for that.
You pressed this doing it. You pressed the white ball.
Hey, Paul. Car down the street, they're getting, these thieves are getting a little smart. In the car, they had total electric, plugged in. They pulled the plug, and I don't know how they got in it, but they stole the vehicle. Even electric cars. I mean, it was plugged into their house, pulled the plug, and they stole the car.
Well, I guess we can just wait till the winter when the power goes out, then that car won't be charged.
Not really very charted anyways.
I don't know how they're starting this country. I don't know.
On Channel 7 News yesterday, it says more homes are being broken into lately. You maybe record like, Cheektowaga, I think it's huge. It said, definitely make sure you lock all your doors and windows at night. And about 10 years back, I don't know if you remember this, just in Cheektowaga, there were a lot of seniors, somehow senior homes were targeted, and people were falling into the bathroom windows in there. This was quite a while back.
All right, once again, if you're not locking your windows and locking your doors, you're going to be vulnerable to that happening. I just reported in the last week, we had one burglary in town. Okay, so if the news wants to report that, hey, this is crazy, then they can report it, but I'm telling you, in that.
They didn't say exactly what town or anything, but they said, there's becoming more prevalent.
Yeah, what you heard on the news too, there was a rash of burglaries on the west side of North Buffalo.
And they arrested that guy today.
And they caught the guy.
They caught him.
Yeah.
All right?
I do. Wanted to get more involved because I noticed there was kids that got into my car one night a few months back and they threw stuff everywhere. It didn't seem like they took anything. They just, threw everything everywhere. Went through the consoles. And just 2 weeks ago, my neighbor's car across the street was stolen. It was found the next street over, but I also have a Ring doorbell, and I catch some of these guys running down the streets. And I kind of made a flyer. I wanted to either run it by you or try and see if you have something already. Just pass out to my neighbors, because we got to stick together. If you hear something, see something, you got to call the police and say something.
All right. Was your car unlocked?
My car was unlocked that night, and I don't know if my neighbor, she said it wasn't, but
Okay.
got in.
So we've been preaching in here now for 10 years. To lock your cars, lock your doors. If people aren't doing it, I don't know what else we can do. We put posters up like we have in the front foyer here. Lock your car, right? We can do that stuff, but people don't pay attention to it. At 9 o'clock every night, sometimes 8:30 before I go to bed, I go press my locks on each of my cars, and I know they're locked.
Well, I do it religiously now. I don't make sure everything's locked.
What street do you live on?
Darwin Street.
All right, I'll also make that a check.
There was one more thing. I was thinking that if it's these kids, some of them are real young. They're out there.
All right, I'm having trouble hearing him. If we could just keep it quiet for one more minute.
Being that they're kids, I was urging a couple people I know at the TV studios to maybe come back to that PSA they used to do. It's 11 o'clock. You know where your children are. And I wanted to put that in my flyer. And I've talked to a few neighbors already, and they like it. I wish they could have been here. I want to be more involved, and I want to see what else I can do.
All right, why don't you get me a copy of the flyer? If you don't have it with you, bring it next meeting, and we'll talk further.
All right.
All right? Thank you.
Just one final point. For National Night Out every year, there's a number of volunteers that coordinate and help prepare and work the event. But there's only one person that's the driving force behind it, and that's Paul. So if we give Paul, come on out here, buddy. He's over there. All right. Give Paul a round of applause, because he is the person Any final questions? Okay, thank you. See you next month.